All right, we are at our next service call. Customer got home from Florida and steam makes loud noises.
Hello.
Good morning, sir.
I'm right in.
Thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm doing okay.
Okay.
I have two things. One, I have a leak in the faucet. The other thing is the heating unit. We're getting big noises, you know, that the pounding. You do heating, right?
We mostly do heating and air conditioning, yes.
Okay, so I don't know whether the heating unit is going. We're getting heat.
Now it's closed. So let's take a step back. Yesterday, your wife called,
Right.
Stating that you guys got back from Florida. You turned the heat on, and it's making
Right.
a loud banging sound.
Right.
She's concerned about that.
Right.
She did not make me aware of a faucet that's dripping, but I can look at that. I'm not equipped for plumbing stuff in the truck for everything, but we could take care of it for you.
It's a simple thing. It's just that I got
Correct.
old.
If I had a penny every time I heard that, I have a lot of pennies. So let's go see what's going on.
All right.
You want to start with the heat? Now, your wife had said you have steam heat. I don't think you have a steam heating system, do you?
We have, I got old, and my old gets in my way
It's
when I
okay.
want to say something. We have gas heat.
Okay.
The unit's been in for
Forever.
40-some years. We put it in a long time ago.
Okay.
So it's usually been working. So I don't know, you've been doing this.
So right now the thermostat says it's 66 in
It
here.
says it was put in by you guys, right?
Well, the thermostat's by us, yes.
Right.
Yeah,
So you got,
yeah, you know what you need? You need some new batteries. Because it's blank.
what batteries does it need? A's or?
Well, it needs 2 AA batteries. Let's start with that.
I think I have that. Okay.
Let's start with that first, and then we'll go from there. Because believe it or not, some things are relatively simple, unlike faucet repair.
Back around September 1st.
Oh, well, speedy recovery. All right, so now it's, what I was trying to do is hit the light button to illuminate it, and then it caused it to die. So let's put this back on the wall, and we'll start by setting the time. So right now it is 10 o'clock,
That's perfect.
and it is, nope, Tuesday, right?
Right.
Exit. Okay. So let's put that to heat. Let's raise this from 65 to...
70.
Now that noise that we hear right now, that's a normal sound?
That's
was-
not the banging we hear.
No, but is that a normal sound that it just made?
I guess so.
Hold on.
Yeah.
Hear that? Wow, that's...
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, listen.
I need hearing aids.
Oh, okay, so we're getting a very, very loud electrical noise in the basement when I turn this on. Let's do that one more time. Yeah. I don't know what that is, but let's go figure out what that noise is.
Make a right turn.
Yes, sir. Yep, I hear it. We have this old Peerless boiler. There it is. There's that noise. It's this.
Oh, yeah. That.
Yeah.
Well, that's an old one. This is
Yeah.
a new one. And
Correct.
That's why it's so small.
Yeah.
Because you put a new one in.
Yeah, that's the noise you're hearing, that we're hearing, the circulator.
So we need a new circulator.
Well, there are guys who can rebuild those things, but the thing with this circulator is that it needs to be oiled every heating season. Do you oil it?
No.
How long? And you put it in 40 years ago, you said. Yeah.
Probably
It's-
probably was oiled. At
Yeah,
one time.
it's probably best to give you a circulator like the green one you have that
Right.
requires no maintenance.
Okay.
Does light work? Yay, we have a light. Now I can see better. Okay. And that should kill the power to that, and then we could do some with the circulator. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I know that some of you are going to crucify me for replacing a B&G 100 series circulator and putting in a 0015E ECM 3-speed circulator. But this gentleman has never, ever, ever lubricated the circulator. Let's give him something maintenance-free and dependable and reliable. Yes, it's going to cost a little bit of money. versus replacing an impeller coupling on a B&G 100, but it's about delivering value and doing a professional job. I'm not saying replacing a coupling, the coupler on that circulator is not a professional job, but when you factor in maintenance that he needs to do on a circulator, which he's not doing, make the homeowner's life a little bit easier. Now you can crucify me. All right. There's the circulator. Let's get to work. First things first. Let's lubricate our bolts with some WD-40. Make sure power's off. Let's remove the electrical cover to pull the armor sheathed line voltage going to the circulator. Funny that's not on the right way. Check valves actually hold them back. Fascinating. Just taking out that air valve to see if we can not have this boiler airbound. All right. Yeah, this guy wanted to pick up a circulator under warranty, but he tried to pull a fast one on me, so we took the circulator back from him. So now these circulators are on the return. See how the arrow is pointing down? We have to spin this body around. RTFM, folks. Read the factory manual. It will provide a plethora of information for you. There is a reason why they give you instructions for these, because they want you to install it like a professional. So RTFM, read the factory manual. Good. Okay, our arrow is going to be pointing down. Where's my arrow? There it is. Arrow's pointing down. Let's put this where it needs to be. Make sure that gasket is good. Squeeze that back down. And resecure the 4 screws. Obviously, putting a little extra on it, not just finger tight like that. All right, we have a 4th bucket. Let's see if it's more cooperative now. Yeah, before it was literally coming out of the gasket. That's already loose. I know I should be wearing gloves. My wife's gonna yell at me having dirty hands. She doesn't realize that these hands are the sign of success. All right, let me finish wiring the circulator. Now the cloth on the wiring is very, very frayed, so I did cut back the copper conductor a little bit and separated them as best I can. I don't want to start replacing wiring because it's just opening up a can of worms. We're going to be going from here to there and there, up there and there, and so on and so forth. You know, it is what it is. All right, let's see if we can do this quickly. Let's fill that bad boy up. I know that's not accurate, but I can use it as a guide. Maybe we'll do a class on rebuilding a B&G 100 circulator. flashing before because we had plenty of air in there. Let's see if it could do its job and circulate water. Get that split return, 1.25 and 1 inch coming back to the boiler. There's only one pipe leaving. Here. See that? That 1.5. Wow. Yeah, 1.5. Big Peerless boiler. 1980. Wow. 46 years ago. Damn. You know what I love going to older homes that haven't been like touched in like decades? Take a look at what's sitting over here. This is the Thor automatic glad iron. Iron a shirt in 4.5 minutes automatically. Turn, roll, and see how. Place shirt into position, unroll, and iron first sleeve. Wow. So you have a setting there for if it's, well, it turned at one point maybe. Imagine things still plugged in. That's an antique. All right, let's check the heat output sources. All right, that one's warming up. Radiator. This one's cold. This should heat up now. I can feel it already. Here we go. Here's another one. Gotta get the air out. These bleeders, I swear. May need to add some more pressure to the boiler too, but gotta make sure they all get hot. Gotta get the air out. Just have that screw slightly opened. Good. Here's another convector. I just took the whole thing out. It's faster. Once I hear water starts swooshing up here, I'll put the pin back in. May need to add more pressure though. Look at this blue carpeting. Blue shag carpeting. Is that an 80s thing or is this a 70s thing? Definitely not a 90s thing, I'll tell you that. So we gotta add some more pressure. Listen, I'm not replacing the boiler. Oh, there you go, a little bit of water. Like literally, like 1 PSI. Let's go jack up pressure on the boiler. Let's add more pressure to the boiler. If it was easy to replace the pressure reducing valve, I probably would recommend it, but it is what it is right now. I get stuck there. Oh, come on, really? I guess that's why this was closed. What I got here. And last but not least, a little pointy bed. There you go. Be prepared for that with a rag or something. Now it's hot. Sweet. All right. Took out some of the garbage. Let's do some component identification for you newbies out there that this may be your first time looking at a boiler. A Peerless from the early 80s. Man, they don't make them like they used to, that's for sure. So let's talk about how this operates. Because there are line voltage circulators here, we are going to need line voltage for the system. Now on most, I would say, gas boilers from the last 40 years or so utilize a 24 volt system. So you have line voltage feeding a primary secondary transformer, 110, 120, feeding a transformer. Here, that transformer is right there. Is that the only one for the boiler? Let's take a look under the hood. And you're gonna see a few things here. You got this supply pipe, also this return line going into the front of the boiler. There's all our burner tubes. Here's our thermocouple base standing pilot gas valve. This is an aquastat relay. If we take this off, you're gonna see a transformer in there and connections for a TT. There's your limit, or the aquastat limit, and there's a relay, and that's gonna feed our burner circuit, which, as you can see, just goes to the gas valve. There's no other safety mechanisms or safety switches on this boiler. Here is that aquastat relay. It's an L8148E, all right, still in production. It's a great, reliable thermostat. So we run on 24 volts and for the line voltage and circulator, but it gives 24 volts for the burner circuit. Burner circuit is right there, indicated by B1, B2. And then you have C1, C2, which is for circulator, line and neutral. And then you're gonna have L1, L2, or L1 and neutral. Right, there's your neutral, L2. And that's your 120 volt incoming line voltage. You have thermostat connections here. And looks like one of them is going to that aquastat relay, or that relay, sorry. Is this a aquastat relay? No, it's a regular relay, single zone switching relay. Get this cover back on. There you go. And that's that single zone switching relay for that secondary zone, which is our first floor rear den. Right now the burner cut off. Let's see if the circulator is still powered. Yes, it is. That means we're at temp. And it looks like we are. Yep. Not accurate 100%, but our aquastat relay cut the power to the burner circuit and killed ignition. Once this temperature gets low enough in the boiler, the probe, sitting all the way back in there, senses that lower temperature and it clicks on. Quite simple. But there's that primary secondary transformer. So 24 volts gets fed to the gas valve. And now on a newer boiler, you'd have your rollout switch, you'd have your vent damper, you have your spill switch, maybe a secondary high limit, depending on your jurisdiction, a manual reset, for example, all wired into the burner circuit. So when one goes out, they all go out, killing power to the burner. All right, now that we talked about the aquastat relay, this is our flue piping. This is the draft hood or draft diverter. We have an expansion tank. This is a number 30. Looks like someone installed this on March 16, 2022. That's our pressure reducing valve, taking that 60 PSI of domestic pressure, potable water, and reducing it down to 12 PSI. On newer systems, a code compliance install would be a check valve there, which would prevent the boiler water, hydronic water, from mixing with your potable water supply. Now, those do act like a check valve, but they're not. So if I were to disconnect this, chances are water's not going to go up out of the boiler and out, but it's technically not a check valve, so you still need a backflow prevention device here. Automatic air vent. Now, behind the boiler, we have a 30 PSI relief valve, at least it should be, also replaced on 3/16/22. Looks like a plumber had a field day then. I don't know why that's not working right, but 30 PSI. Yeah, probably. Let's see. Yep, 30 PSI. But that needs to be installed vertically, and then piping configuration pointing down, which should be terminate no greater than 6 inches off the floor. There's the circulator we just replaced for the main primary zone. Here's that secondary. Quite simple. Look at the first inspection. That was on the 15th of February of 1980. And then it looks like 1984, maybe? New circulator main floor. So that B&G was installed and replaced new zone circulator. That was in 2000. Tighten bolts on circulator in 2002. She an oldie. Wow. Bet you there's no chimney liner in this chimney.